Most Sundays, I'll make my way over to our local organic farmers market and pick up a few ingredients to meal prep with over the course of the week. I just love the markets. You find the coolest, most amazing things there. Sometimes I'll find ingredients that I've never heard of or seen before, and I always find something new and different to try. They have dry foods like seeds and nuts, fresh produce like leafy greens, fresh pineapple, apples, fruits of all sorts really, vegetables, herbs, and a beautiful array of fresh flowers. Now, I've always wanted to be able to buy fresh flowers from the market, but as it's not within my budget, it's a goal for me in future to have enough money in my weekly budget to buy fresh flowers each week from the markets. Someday, I really hope to be able to do that. As organic foods are more expensive and I'm studying and only working a few days a week, I'll tend to buy just a few ingredients from the markets, like apples, leafy greens, and other foods that would be highly pesticide laden if I bought them conventional. The rest I'll buy from an independent grocer at our local supermarket. I'll also stop by my local bulk food store to pick up any dry ingredients that I need. When I'm home, I'll freeze up some bananas to have during the week as frozen nice cream, which is just frozen bananas, nut butter, a dash of plant milk, and some ice blended together until smooth and like a soft serve ice cream. This is my basic recipe for vegan ice cream, which I'll have most days, especially in summer, but I'll also add things like protein powder, cacao powder, hemp seeds, or vanilla extract to make a protein chocolate ice cream too. With the dry foods that I pick up from my bulk food store, I'll make my own seeded keto bread using almond meal, psyllium husk, coconut flour, sunflower seeds, pepitas, chia seeds, baking powder, sea salt, flax seeds and water, which I mix together into a dough and then bake at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 1.5 hours. It's such an easy bread recipe and tastes absolutely amazing. The smell of baked bread wafts through the house, making our home smell like a bakery. It's awesome. I usually have my bread toasted with some avocado and egg for breakfast, or I spread it with some peanut butter to make peanut butter toast. I like to make my own bread from scratch, as it means I don't have the plastic packaging that store-bought breads come in, plus it's free from all the preservatives, fillers, binders and sugars that most gluten-free breads are made with. I also make my own almond milk for that reason too, as it's plastic packaging free, so no plastic chemicals leach into the fatty milk that I make, and it's free from any sugar or preservatives. I mostly make almond milk as it's my favourite plant milk to make, but I have made other milks before like hemp, cashew, macadamia, soy and coconut. It's really easy to do. All it is you add about a cup of soaked almonds to a high-speed blender along with 2 cups of water. Then you blitz it for a minute or so until creamy, and then strain through a nut milk bag, and you have fresh, creamy homemade almond milk. The leftover pulp can be kept for a few days in the fridge to make more almond milk with, or you can dry it out in the oven or dehydrator to make almond meal. It saves me so much money on buying more almond meal from the bulk food store to make more bread with, Plus, it also reduces food waste. With any leftover vegetable scraps, I make some homemade vegetable stock with them. I keep the scraps in my freezer in a small container, and then when it's full, I pour them into a large pot, fill it with water, and add some salt and pepper. Sometimes I'll add other herbs and spices to give it more flavour. Then I'll cover and bring it to a boil, and from there I'll turn it down to a simmer for 2 to 4 hours. The longer it cooks, the deeper the flavour of the stock is, so I love to leave it for 4 hours if possible. The scraps that are left over from making the stock, I'll just compost. The compost that I collect over a few weeks goes back into our garden out the back. We have some tomato plants now growing which have self-seeded from this compost that I buried there, so I just can't wait for them when they're ripe enough to pick. I'm actually so excited about this because it's the first thing that started growing in our back garden that I can then use to make in other recipes. The stock I make will then usually be used in soups or curries that I'll make during the week. This was a coconut curry which I made with sweet potato, broccoli, carrots, capsicum, onion, garlic, spices, salt and pepper, coconut milk and stock.
Hey guys, so on this rainy afternoon that we're having, I thought I'd make some homemade coconut yogurt, which is really easy. You only need really just 2 ingredients, and the optional is honey if you want to make it a bit sweeter. But you want to start by sterilising a jar, just like a glass jar. I just use hot water and I pour it through and kind of kills any of the bacteria that I don't want in my yogurt. And then I also have 2 cans, like 2 14-ounce cans of coconut milk. Now I only had 1 coconut milk and 1 coconut cream, so I'm just going to use these 2. Coconut cream or coconut milk works really well, so either one will do. And then the main ingredient which you're going to need is either some yogurt culture starter, which I couldn't find at my health food store, but they did say this probiotic was another really good option to use. And it just contains 200 million organisms, which is really high, and you really want something that has over 50 million organisms in it to be able to start the culture. So you're going to need 2 probiotic capsules if you're going to use the capsule form. And then just as a sweetener, as like an optional ingredient, I'm using some local raw honey that I got from my bulk food store. It's made with the tea tree in it, so it's got some good antimicrobial, antiviral properties as well. So to make this coconut yogurt, it's really simple. All you're going to do is pour the contents of 2 cans of coconut milk or coconut cream into a saucepan, which you're just going to heat until it's warm. Don't let it boil. So heat the coconut cream or coconut milk until it's warm. And then once the coconut milk is hot but not boiling, you're going to remove it from the stove and you're going to let it cool slightly just till it's like a warm temperature, because if you add the probiotics in when it's hot, it'll kill them. So we just want it to be warm. So once it's cooled down to a warm temperature, you can add your 2 probiotic tablets or capsules in, and you're just going to stir that through the coconut milk to make sure it's like evenly spread throughout until it dissolves as well. And then you're going to add in your honey if you're using, or maple syrup or other sweetener that you like, or none at all. And you're going to stir it through, and then you're going to pour it into your sterilised glass jar, and then cap it and let it sit for 18 to 24 hours. And try not to make a mess like I have. So when you're making the coconut yogurt, it's important to keep it at a really warm temperature, so I'm going to wrap it around with a towel to try and keep the heat in, and then hopefully it will stay warm. Otherwise, if you live in a really cold climate, it may help to keep it in a dehydrator or in your oven just with the light on and a towel wrapped around it, and that may keep it at that temperature, just a warm temperature, while it kind of ferments and becomes yogurt.
I let my coconut yogurt sit for 48 hours to really thicken up, but 16 to 24 hours should be enough time for the yogurt cultures to ferment and create yogurt. You can leave it for a longer amount of time if you want your yogurt to be even tangier, like Greek yogurt, but when the coconut milk is finished, it will taste sour and the yogurt will be a little thick. It will continue to thicken more once you refrigerate it, But if you want thicker yogurt, you can strain it in a cheesecloth or nut milk bag and just keep the probiotic whey to drink or use in smoothies. Once your yogurt is finished, you can just simply store it in the fridge for up to 2 weeks. So this is my burrito bowl that I made today. I've made some guac here, then I have some brown rice, but I was thinking next time I'll use cauliflower rice just as like another option. And then this is my bean mix that I made and it's absolutely phenomenal. And then I put a little hummus on top there and it's so good.